All right, welcome back, guys. So today we're going to be talking about some recent developments with Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev. So we all know that recently, a couple weeks back, almost a month now, I believe, Ilia Topuria gave up his featherweight belt. He said, "I'm going up to lightweight." The reason, I'm still not fully certain what the reason is. I know that he wants to be a double champion. That's an obvious reason. I don't know why he gave up the featherweight belt, because it turns out Dana White did say that that's not necessary. At first, there was a rumor going on that Dana White said no more double champs, and that's why he gave up the belt. But turns out Dana never said that, and it seems like Topuria was just done with featherweight, done with the weight cut, decided to move up to lightweight. We all assumed that once that happened, that it was obvious that next up is going to be Topuria versus Islam Makhachev, especially because Dana made a point after Arman fell out of that Islam Makhachev fight and Islam fought Renato Moicano instead. Dana made it clear. He's like, we're not rebooking Arman. We have other plans. And then he was talking about this whole thing. He was saying how each year they want to make things crazier and crazier and surprise the fans, and how they're going to make something crazy happen with Islam. And so the assumption this entire time has been that Islam and Topuria will fight. And then Topuria moves up, and like the weeks pass, and there's been like back and forth with the managers and whatnot, and everybody's saying stuff. And Topuria and his management saying, we're not fighting Arman. We're not fighting anybody other than the champion. We're not doing a contender bout. We're going for the title. And Islam's camp, I think his manager just yesterday or a couple days ago said, no, we're not taking that fight. Like, they apparently they declined the Topuria fight. That fight, as of now, appears to not be happening. And Islam's stance, at least based on what his manager is saying, is that Topuria needs to earn it. He needs to go fight somebody at lightweight, show that he belongs at the division, and then he can fight for the title. A lot to unpack there. Is Islam right? Look, I don't think that Topuria necessarily needs to prove that he belongs or deserves the shot. I mean, he took out Max Holloway and Volkanovski, knocked out both of them, two legends, two of the greatest of all time at featherweight. He did that. That was at featherweight. So, doesn't necessarily mean he deserves a lightweight title shot, but he was a very strong champion. You can't really say dominant because he only defended once, but he was a good champion. He did defend in spectacular fashion against Max Holloway, who's a really, really tough fighter. So, like, does he deserve it? Yeah, but I also, honestly, I don't blame Islam at all, because just look at this guy. Every single time he fights someone, people have something to say. He gave Alexander Volkanovski the shot to move up and take him on, and it was a very close fight between the two pound and pound number 1 and 2. Super close fight. Islam wins. Oh, he's not as good as people make him out to be. He had a close fight with a small featherweight. Then he knocks out Volkanovski. Oh, Volkanovski was on short notice, and he's a small featherweight. So now you want this guy to go take a fight against another featherweight beast, have to, have a strong camp, a tough fight, win, and then hear that all over again. Beating Topuria will do nothing for him, unfortunately. It should, if fans had any sense, a normal sense, and if people weren't so crazy in their hatred for fighters sometimes. But the way things are, it makes sense for him not to want to take the fight, because he's not going to get any credit for it. It's a really impressive win, but people won't see it that way. He'll get that win and people will say, see, he never fights lightweights. He only fights featherweights. He's asking for lightweights. He wants to fight Arman or Gaethje or Oliveira. But no, people are only going to focus on the fact of him fighting featherweights. Oh, Moicano was a former featherweight. Oh, he was a former featherweight. Oh, Volkanovski was a small featherweight. It'll never end. And yeah, you can argue that maybe it's a little different because this time around, Topuria is actually moving up to lightweight permanently, whereas Volkanovski didn't do that. But it won't change the narrative of former featherweight. People will look at that win on Islam's record. If he wins, they'll look at that win and be like, former featherweight. Doesn't mean anything. It's crazy. It's crazy. When Islam first beat Volk that first time, regardless of the fact that Volk came up, that was an impressive win, and that was a really high-level fight. But now years pass, and people just look at it like a blip, and Volk's been losing recently, so now it's like, oh, that was a nothing. That was a nothing win. So now he's supposed to take on a super tough fight in Topuria, win or lose or win, And then again, it's going to happen all over again. He just won't get credit, except from people like me, from the diehards. Yeah, well, of course we'll give him credit. That's an awesome win if he can beat Ilia. No matter the fact that Ilya's moving up, that's still impressive if he can beat him. But the majority of the fan base is more casual, and they're not going to give him credit for it. They also just hate him for some reason. There's a lot of hate for the Dagestani fighters. I don't know why. I'm not one of them. One of the people who hate them. I love all the Dagestani fighters. Habib was one of my favorites of all time. But yeah, it's just crazy to me. Long story. I just went off on a whole rant, but I understand. I'm with Islam here. Like, he should fight Topuria. I would really like to see that fight, but I'm not giving him any crap for not wanting to do it right now. I think it's probably in his best interest to keep fighting lightweights. Let Topuria, like, go get another one or two defenses. Defend against Arman, defend against Gaethje or Oliveira, and then fight Topuria. That way you have more lightweight defenses on your record, and it's not just, oh, he only ever defended against former featherweights. That's what I think. I think he should wait, make Ilia fight. Screw it. I think Ilia deserves a shot. Don't get me wrong. I think he deserves to go and fight Islam right now, but I don't blame Islam whatsoever. I think he's probably doing the correct thing for his career, not because he's scared, but because he's not going to get any credit for it. So why do it? Just let Topuria knock out some other lightweights. Let him fight Poirier for his retirement fight. And then if he knocks out Poirier, there's going to be less of a thing of, oh, he's a former featherweight. And in the meantime, beat some actual lightweights, defend your title again and again, and then take the fight. I think Islam's doing the right. I don't blame him at all. Maybe it's not the right thing in general. Maybe the right thing is to make the best fight possible. But for his own career, for his own legacy, it makes sense for him not to take it. Because at the end of the day, people will look back in a couple of years and they won't remember all these little nuances. They're just going to see either a Topuria defense and they'll be like, featherweight, or they'll see Gaethje, Oliveira, Arman, all those defenses, and that will mean something. And then Topuria mixed in. That's my personal opinion on the matter. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Selfishly, I want to see that fight. I hope that's the next one, or Arman, because I really want to see that fight too. But like I said, at the end of the day, I don't blame Islam for his decision at all. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll catch you next time.